Oh, I forgot to test everything. Dang it, I forgot to test the microphone. Hopefully it's working, hopefully it's not screwed up. And that's why this is an experimental video. And I need to find the tape. Welcome back everyone, the lecture will start in a few minutes. I'm just preparing the room. Let me bring something so I won't go blind. Thanks for my... So in 3 minutes we will start the lecture. Oh yes, yes. I discovered that YouTube Live doesn't tell me how many participants I have, unless if I have more than 18 or something, but that would never happen, not in this life. Yeah, I have YouTube microphone and the light on the mute button is so obnoxious, and I'm trying to cover it because the cover has failed and I haven't streamed for a while. Alright, 7? 2 minutes left in here. Oh well, because I don't think anyone will come, even though I'm trying to add myself. And I don't think anyone will watch it even after this, so let's start the lecture. This is an experimental lecture because I'm thinking to make my own lectures on Live Code TV. So let's start with the professional intro and everything. Good day everyone, my name is Ahmed Aswad and this is my experimental lecture for basics of C# or in C#. In the future, I'm going to lecture in Live EDU TV. So before I could do that, I need to test the water and see if I can give regular lectures in addition to my regular work. And this is this. So let's see what we are going to take today. Not you. Oh great, the hotkeys are not working properly. Experimental lectures, everyone. It was working before I started screaming, I swear. When I click on page up and down, it was working everywhere. Anyway, let's go back to the lecture. Well, we will talk a bit about knowledge, then we will see what is programming, who are programmers, and why will we teach C#, and see how can we start programming. Knowledge. Knowledge is power. A phrase that we kept hearing over and over. Will you place your hand in a fire? When the room is dark and you see a switch beside the door, will you flip it on? Where are you going? Heading to the refrigerator because you are hungry? Why? To learn, you need this thirst for knowledge, to know more, to improve, to be certain. When you observe someone making a mistake, wouldn't you think and reflect, if you were him, what better choices will you make? When you want to make something new, won't you search for previous successful or even failure attempts of the same subject? Or would it be better to ask yourself, What do I know? Or even better, what I don't know, and start from there. Sometimes, no, most of the times, to know is to fail. In turn, you will know better. To know means wondering, observing, asking, trying, failing, reflecting, and do all over again. Therefore, to learn means to act. That's what leads to understanding. The world is filled with data, and the internet is full with information. All what you need is just time and effort to learn. Every 30 minutes every day is enough. Even 30 minutes every day is enough. Getting a certificate or copying a project or homework and submit it won't teach you anything. Hence, won't make you a better person. The enemy of knowledge is not skepticism, nor ignorance. It is the illusion of knowledge. When one believes he or she knows everything, they will shut down their brains for new ideas. Hence, they will stop learning and improving. What about skepticism? Actually, in our field, as programmers, skepticism is good, even for engineers in general, because it keeps our knowledge in check. If we keep believing that nothing wrong with our approach or our work, we won't think about ways to improve it. If you are always happy with your style of coding, you might never consider learning or trying new features, new techniques, or language functions, which will in turn might make your life easier, make your work better. Skepticism sometimes keeps you in the run because you start to check if what you have done is right or not. But be careful, too much of it will waste your time. One of the most amazing things about knowledge is relatable. The more of it, it's better it becomes, because it connects to each other. What I'm trying to say is information or knowledge of different fields could be used, if you have enough of it, in different fields. If you know a technique to refine oil, for example, or best way to putting burgers ingredients and layers, that might inspire you to do similar things in your code or in your field. Yes, this is not only science, you might object, because you need creativity in this case. But without knowledge, this creativity won't exist in the first place. With that, I end this section by not the knowing verse knowledge is power, rather ignorance is weakness. You need to act. You don't need just to stay and things won't get better. You need to act, learn, observe, and you will get better. So let's start with the actual lecture, if you want to say it. I don't know how to put it in English. I can put it in Arabic, but usually most lectures will start you from here, and I'm trying to do something different, and that's why we gave you a look on knowledge. Next lectures we will give you on some different subjects, and hopefully that will work. So what is programming? A programmer is a person who creates a program and applications. Programming is the process to create programs. Yes, it is not one step, it's a process. To make a program, the programmer has to write a code first. But where? Usually in modern age IDEs. But code could be written on notepads or any text editors and compiled from outside. In short, to program, you need to write the code, debug, compile, and run. If the program starts running, then it's time to test it. If it is working, then that's not the end of the road. Usually programs need maintenance to keep them in shape by updating them every time an issue comes up or the systems get upgraded. Programming in nature is problem solving. You have a problem and you want to use the computer to solve it by writing a program. For example, a calculator. How to make a calculator. Here, you need to tackle the problem step by step. You can use an IPO model, which means input, process, output. What does that mean? Well, Input means what kind of data we need to enter to the system. Process means what does the program do with them. Output means what kind of data we get from the program. We will discuss these steps to design a calculator in the next lesson. Here we need to give you a simple introduction on how to code or how to become a programmer in more details. The programming concept is vast. There are different types of programmers like computer science, software developers, web developers, software engineers, embedded systems, and more and more. I should add here game development, but game development is actually more as engine users, and if you go into code you need to do something like scripting rather than programming. So to be honest, I don't feel game development live in this part. I don't think game developers are programmers. They are developers, they are designers more than as programmers. That's how I see it, unfortunately, but I'm not sure if the world agree with me or not. I need to actually check that out. But anyway, let's start from the first one, which is the most commonly used, computer science. They study the computer field as science, dealing with theories, information, researches, and development of the computer field. This field, the computer science, is quite vast. It deals with both theoretical and practical. Unfortunately, most colleges doesn't care about the theoretical much, but I believe it's very important. That's why I gave a lecture about knowledge. The theoretical part is not used directly in the practical part, yes, but it's used to develop and improve the practical part. Most what these guys do is proving that computer techniques are valid and try to improve them or replace them in other approaches. Software developers, maybe coders we can call them. These guys are the ones who create programs and publish them to the world. So they don't study theory, they don't study it as science, they don't observe and do crap things, if you can say. They are the business people. They are the ones that most companies these days hire, I guess. These people create programs. They are working, but they don't study it as a science. Web developers. These guys deals with the websites, web services, and even some networks implementations. Software engineer. God. Software engineer, these guys are responsible of designing for big projects, making different charts and plans, brainstorming, other things. This field is vast and has many responsibilities, including taking requirements from the stakeholders, validate these requirements, analyze the data, designing, testing the system, validating the output, maintaining the system, and even more. The last type is the embedded system, and it seems it's fading a little bit because most of the new systems trying to be smart systems. So these guys program little devices, or what they call embedded systems, like hand watches, cameras, remote controls, ACs, heaters. These days, a lot of companies make smart devices that use high-level languages or high-level programs and even operation systems. So these devices are different. If you have an old watch that have 7 segments and require a program to increment these segments, something like this. If it's worked by software, if not by hardware, usually 7 segments is by hardware. But yeah, old cameras that doesn't have a program and GUI interface, very old cameras might require embedded developer. So anyhow. So you might wonder, why C#? Well, I'm trying to make mono game in C# lectures, so I decided to make basic C# lectures series for people who want to start mono game but never programmed before. But other than that, I have coded many languages, and C# so far was one of the easiest to deal with for me. It is fast, reliable, well documented, and can be used to make many different kinds of softwares. In around 2008, that wasn't the talk, or 2003, when C# first came, it was only for Windows, but thanks for the .Net development, it became more available on different systems, but we will talk about this soon. Before C Sharp, I used to code in Visual Basic Net, and I noticed that Visual Basic Net doesn't support some of the features that C Sharp do. And then I discovered that C Sharp uses the most support of these features from the .NET. C Sharp is the most language that .NET is supported in. So if you are, before, when they first came again in 2001, people were like, if you came from the basic language, a basic Visual Basic 5 and 6 language, and you want to improve, you can go to Visual Basic Net. If not, then go to C Sharp. No, I don't think so. I believe C Sharp is the superior because .NET got improved a lot, and not everything works with Visual Basic, unlike the old days. So .NET. I might say that too many times. What is .NET? .NET is a framework made by Microsoft to make programmer lives easier. It combined a huge number of libraries and services to be used on all .NET languages. .NET creates a virtual machine to manage the memory and make the code more secure to execute and allow exception handling as well. That's why most people when .NET came say they copying Java. I don't know if Java was the first one that made such a thing, virtual machine and exception handling. But even if they copy it, well, they copy each other now. All .NET languages are connected into the Common Language Runtime, the CLR. Unlike 2005 or 2003, as I said in one, .NET can run on different devices now, thanks for the implementation of the Mono cross-platform on the .NET. And recently, Microsoft bought Cimmerian, which do double compile to convert the code from C# to run natively on Android and iOS. Actually, these devices doesn't see the assembly of the C#. They see their own native language with using this platform. I tried to use it before Microsoft bought it, and it wasn't for free. You need to subscribe and pay like $89 per month. But they bought it like last year, and I should give it another try. If you didn't get anything from what I said from these introductions, C#, Cimmerian, .NET, don't worry about it. You can return later and watch this video again or read about it and establish more understanding to the programming field. So let's go practical a little bit. Enough of the .NET. Let's talk about our IDE, the program that we are going to use to write our programs. Visual Studio Community 2017, and I use this one, not the enterprise, not the business version, because these licenses, this version is free. It has the individual license. When they first came with it, they have different rules, and now when I read it again, I saw a little bit different rules. But before they said if you don't make $1 million per year, you can use this software and you can write your own code and sell it in the market. I didn't see this statement anymore. So try to check the license. Maybe they updated and I didn't know. But they say for now, if you have 5 people or less on the project, you can sell it and test it and code it and do whatever you want. If your project is for education, you can do whatever you want. Even if you have an enterprise, but your software is education or open source, you can do whatever you want with it. So if you're an enterprise, you need to buy the business license. You cannot use this one to sell it. But because you're a learner, and most of us, we have startup projects, we don't need anything else. So this is why we are using the community version. So let's have a break for 10 minutes. And when I return, I will see the questions. Is there anyone here? I don't think so. But in the real life later on, we will see questions. So let's give ourselves, actually, because it's a YouTube video, let's not take a break. Let's just continue. You can pause for 10 minutes if you want. In real life, when I stream, I will do the break. So we are back and the chat page is empty. So let's go on with it. So what should we do? So the first thing we do is try the hotkey. Nope, the hotkey is not working. Thank you. I don't know why it's not working perfectly. So let's lower this. The first thing is you need to go to the Microsoft and check where is the download. Or you can easier, if you want to do, is to Google it. To Google the thing, because Microsoft is not an easy place to, look at that. So I didn't need to Google it. If you Google it and write Visual Studio Community, you will get it immediately. But there you go, we entered the Visual Studio, download Visual Studio Community. Actually, they will try to convince you to take some lectures and stuff. I already downloaded the thing. And look at that. They want me to take the survey now before they offered me to take a lecture in C# actually. So in downloading here, when you run it, it will take a few hours. Not few hours, but it will take some time to work. And look at that. You can check the license if you have a company, and if you're worried, can I install the program or not, you can check the license from here. And this is important, but as a learner, I don't think you will need to worry about that. If you want to test, you want to do whatever you do in your computer, you don't sell the product, you don't sell the program, don't worry about it. If you work alone, you can sell it. Before, I read it somewhere, if you make less than $1 million, then you can sell it. If you're not, then you consider it an enterprise company and you need to buy a license. So when you continue, it's just a regular setup. You just do the setup. And after it finish, I'm not sure if it will ask you to restart the computer or not, but it might ask you to restart the computer. And we can launch it from here actually. I don't need to go and search for it. But that's mean this page won't close. So the first thing you'll notice is a lot of things. You have developer news from Microsoft, you have here some links for lectures, your last things that you were doing. I was playing with it. Before we start coding and doing stuff, what I advise you to do is create a folder for all your stuff. For example, I have my folder in F, my old nickname, Freedom, and here, my programming. And here you see different languages. Like in Visual Basic 2008, my programs in here, my C# programs here, and actually now my company softwares are in here in Workspace. So make a folder to organize your work. So we are going to make our own first project in here, in the lectures. So this page, it might be confusing a little bit, but try not to close anything. You can close this page, we don't need it. So in here, the first thing you can do is to start from File, go to New, and you need to start a project. Every program you make, usually in most modern high-level languages, they are living in projects. One project means one program. Before, as long as you have a file and it has a main code, a main function, it works. But in the new modern high-level languages, we are not in 90s anymore. Most of them use projects, and most IDEs support projects. So let's create a project. And here it might get a little bit confusing again. So let's take it slowly. And here you see the tabs of projects. And in here you see the .NET version. Sometimes some of the projects doesn't work with the most modern .NET version. Like recently, I updated to 4.6.1, and the console project doesn't work anymore for some reason. And I searched for it, and I don't know what fixed it, but something made it work. It might make an errors. So here you can change the version of .NET, and I advise to use whatever after 4, because 4, actually you can even use 2 and 3 and 3.5. Some of the features they do, no, some of the good features, most of the good features on 3. Then they start adding more and more, but you can always use the most advanced one. It won't hurt. It won't hurt anyone. If the other computers, after they finish the programs, they move them to them without the setup, it might have an issue. They need to install newest version, but we don't worry about this soon. Sorry about that. I start to go away from the track. So here we are not going to do a visual program. We go to the installed section, and we are going to use a console app. You see there are tons of things, so you can read what the hell is this. What's the difference between them? They applied the new, it has been for a few years now. I don't know when it started. They started to make a cross program, so C# is supported on Mac and Android and Linux. Not like the old days. Old days, you know, Mac doesn't support anything except Objective-C. But let's make a simple one for Windows. C# works perfectly with Windows, so I advise you, if you're taking these lectures, hopefully you are using Windows, because I never used Linux version, and I don't know what kind of problems will be there. Yeah, this show how ugly my lecture is, because I wasn't prepared enough for this section. I start babbling about that, and sorry about that. So let's go to the folder that we just created, and give a name for our program. And we got the same problem. So this problem is because of the new .NET, and I have no clue why. I didn't test it with the newer things, but my own project's in 4.6 and it works fine. So let's change it to 4. Console. I was going to say anywhere, but see, it's the newest version problem. So if it is the newest version problem, choose 4 or 4.5. So this is the program. As I said, or maybe I didn't say that, and if I didn't say that, I will say it soon. This is where you see the code. And here are the tabs where you see other classes to code. We don't have other classes in this section, so let's not worry about it. Here we will see the output and error, and if you close one by mistake, you can view them in here. So here in the error list, here you see your project. So your project here, lecture. And properties hold the assembly things, where I will never work with that. References, because programs doesn't run alone. It works on the .NET platform. So if we return to the lecture, oh, I closed it. Nope, I didn't. Here, you see the languages are depending on the .NET framework. So they need to use what's called the system in here. And the .NET framework working on the Windows or the operation system. So the code itself doesn't work with magic. It needs to call other features, to call other sources, to link with them to work. So here we see the references, and we can see them from here. In the basic lectures, we will never deal with them. Maybe when we open files and close files, we will learn how to use the system IO, but not today. All programs, as I said, they need a main function. In the next lecture, or the one after, We will learn about different languages and how they, oh wow, look at me. Sorry about that. Experimental, a lot of errors. I might repeat this lecture. What I was saying every program need a main function, and here we will learn our first code. Was it console? Yes. Ooh. I was saying, and I'm sorry about that, that the camera was looking at somewhere else. And I don't see the chat. I need to fix my organization, how to see if someone asking something, I can see him immediately. I need to put the chat somewhere on the screen without covering the other stuff. So the .NET, as I said, using the operating system, or using what's called the console as well. We can access the console. What is the console? If you never worked with the DOS program, this is the console. Or maybe Linux, the terminal. It's the black screen with the text. So what did I do to run the program? To run the program, you need to click on Start or 5F. But let's take a look on the code. So the code, the first thing it run, the first thing it did happen when you click on Start, it will search for the main class, which is this one, the program. Then it will search for something called the main function. Static void main. You don't need to write this. As you saw, when we started a new project, it immediately gave us this. Why it's slow? It gave us the code already there. It have the namespace, it have the program, it have everything. We don't need to deal with it. We don't even need to add the system. As I said, they made this IDE and this platform to make our life easier. We don't need to in Java, you need to write this thing. You need to write the using system thing. So our first code is the famous hello world. So first thing we do is to say, hey, console, I want something from you. And to say we want something from him, we put the dot. And again, the IDE help us and show us what we can see, what this console can do to us. And I want to write something on the screen. Hello, dear user. So when we start a function, later on we will learn about that in more details, we need the parentheses and we need to send the data, what we need to print. I don't know if it will close on our faces without the read line. Yeah. So as you can see, the program started and immediately closed on our faces. So to hold the program and say, hey dude, can you wait for us please? And the easiest way to do that is to make the program to wait for the user to input something. So when we click start, now the computer or the program is waiting for us to input something, and he will do nothing with that thing because I didn't do anything in code in here. And when this line is entered, it ends. Why? Because the function, the main, ended. Nothing after this. That's it. So this is the first lecture we have. Let's take some looks on some of the stuff. One of the most amazing features I always love about this Visual Studio 2017 or 15 is the memory allocation. It shows how much the program is taking in the memory all the time. So if you were wondering what the hell was this, so congratulations. Oh, before we congrats you, let's take a look on the code or the file. So this is the project. As you remember, we saved it. In the project, when you enter the projects here, lecture 1, you will see the SLN thing. SLN is the solution, it's called. And this thing, you open it to see the program again. So when I open it, as you see, it open it, and it will show me the program and the code and everything. So this is how you check your code again. Inside, you will see the references in here. You will see the code in here. Like this is the program code. If you open it on, oh, you open it in here immediately. Okay. But I don't know if he will open it in its project or not. Yeah, he opened it as a file, and it can help you to find errors and stuff. But we can open it with the notepad. So you see, this is the code in the notepad, and this is notepad++, which you can actually program in. So you see all the classes in here, and when you compile the program, when you press F5, it actually rebuild and compile and run. You can go to the pin, debug, and you can see your projects in here, the exe file. So actually, if you move this file to other computers that I installed, all the references and everything, it will work. If it doesn't have .NET platform or the libraries you're using, it won't work. So here, as you can see, we can run our programs. So yeah, I shouldn't take too much time. I see my practical time is way too much. So how to switch? We should take 5 minutes break, but for you in YouTube, you can just pause it. I don't mind. When I stream, I will give the 5 minutes break. So let's take some features. This section, we will show, some feature of random features in the C# or Visual Studio, whatever. So this is the feature section. So the feature that I would like to show today is the green and the red line in the Visual Studio. When you type something wrong in the Visual Studio, it will show you a red line here. And when you hover over it, it might tell you exactly what's the problem. Sometimes we have a syntax problem. So he tell you what exactly is missing. So this is the red line feature. Sometimes, let's try to do something like, oh, it's already exist? For example, if we use something that is not defined in our namespaces, it actually tell you the problem that the namespace doesn't exist. If you see this little yellow bulb, it actually can help you. And most of the time it will detect the problem and suggest to you what to do. For example, here we can... oh wow. We can only generate the direct. I should make an example before I start the lecture. Sorry about that. I'm using monogame platform. It's living in Microsoft.NET.XNA something. And here it's in the GDI plus, but it doesn't show you to use the namespace of GDI plus. Very bad example. Sorry about that. Maybe I wrote the word wrong. I should test the example. So let me. The green line is not a problem, but it seems your code is weak. And for example, if I say int a, and I never use this variable, it show you a green line. So it tell you it never used. So a green line is not a big issue, but why you're doing it, it seems a waste of time. For example, an empty statement as well is considered something bad. Why do you have an empty statement? but apparently he doesn't want to show the green line in here for some reason. It should show a green line in here because you have an empty statement that doesn't doing nothing. Guess it's not in the mood today. So this is our little feature today, the red and the green line. Homework. So what kind of homework we need? I want you to make a program, make a folder. I install the Visual Studio, of course, first, and make it print the username. Like, you need to figure out how to do it. Like, if the username is, the user will enter it, of course, Ahmed, then it will print Ahmed. And that's it. Hopefully next time I will give you more challenging homeworks. So today I want to add the MSDN website. This website doesn't have only lectures and stuff. It has the documentation of the code and everything. So MSDNA, let's copy the link. Oops, I cannot copy the link from this stupid thing. Let's copy the link from here. Actually, I can jump around and see. So in here, you can take a tour on C#, and it tell you what the hell it is and give you actually even lectures if you go .Net. And you immediately see here a quick guide or quick start or C# guide, and it's very beautiful, very formal, and take you step by step everything you need to do. And if you search and you say C# object, for example, just like Java document, you see in the classes hierarchy and everything in this website. So I usually use it before Stack Overflow. Every time I have a problem, I go and check the thing that I'm working on, and I check, is it MSDN? Then I go there and check what the heck it is, and it usually tells me everything, documentation. Unfortunately, we didn't learn even about variables or function or anything, so I can't give you a very good example, but I want to make an ad for this website. So thank you for watching. This is the first experimental lecture. I need to cut off and talk less next time and focus more on the lecture. But thank you, whatever. Thank you for listening and watching, and hopefully see you in the next lecture.